Does Saudi Arabia have the right to host big-time boxing? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Heads, and I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, Saudi Arabia, as we know, they're hosting these big boxing events. And the criticism has been that they're taking boxing away from us. They're taking boxing away from the UK, away from the United States, which, let's face it, are the big two powerhouses of hosting big boxing events. Obviously, you've got all the other countries that have boxing events, but the two huge players, let's say, are definitely the UK and definitely the United States. But I say, no, you're taking it away from us. You know, it's going to Saudi Arabia. We don't like it. It shouldn't be there. And there have been various journalists and broadcasters who basically said that, well, we're not really keen on boxing going over there. We want it over here. And if they are going to fund it, well, why not bring it over here to us? Because we're the true boxing fans. And I've got a bit of a problem with that. This is the point, really. Because Saudi Arabia are putting the money up for this. They're paying over the odds. They're not paying what is due to the boxers and the promoters. No, they're paying well over the odds to force promoters and especially boxers to get in the ring quickly with a minimum of fuss. They're the ones who are paying over what boxing is worth. And yes, they've raised the profile of it now, and they're giving us the fights that we want. So if they're doing that, well, they have the right. They have the right to host it wherever they want. And let's not forget, I've said this in a previous video, I've said it for a year now, that Saudi Arabia are doing this as a big marketing campaign. A very good marketing campaign, because they're bringing the eyes of the world onto Saudi Arabia. They want to develop Saudi Arabia. So they have the right and they have the vision to bring the boxing events to their country, but they're bringing the audience, they're bringing the eyes of the world to their country, the focus of the world. That's their intention. So that's, quite rightly, that's what they want. So that's their game plan. So why would they ever want to bring it elsewhere? Now, they have conceded a little bit. They are going to host events here in the UK in September, and I think they're going to host another one in the United States, aren't they, with Terence Crawford, I think, on the bill as well. Fundamentally, this is the mechanism to draw eyes to their country, to promote their country. That's why they're throwing all the money at it. That's why they're doing all this, to invest in sports, to bring the eyes of the world. Now, there's been lots of political talk about this, and been lots of talk about sports washing and all that. If you set that aside, for most people who are just really interested in sports and just seeing these things, well, they have a right. It's their money. It's like me saying, okay, well, I'm going to buy a car, but you're going to tell me I can't drive it over there. I can only drive it over there. And I'll be like, no, sod you. Why? I'm the one who bought it. Nobody's bought it for me. I'm the one who put the money here. I'm the one who's worked hard for it. I'll just do what I damn well please with it. So it's exactly the same here. Nobody else has the right to tell them where they should be hosting it. Now, we can be critical. We can be making observations about how they're doing things and the potential fallout for boxing in the long term. And I've made videos about this as well. Let's say if they suddenly get bored of boxing, or they want to focus their attention on other sports or in other areas of leisure, let's say, what happens to boxing thereafter? So these are good questions to have. But for now, they have the money, they hold the purse, they're the ones who are driving these boxers to get in, and these new formats and these new ways of thinking about big-time boxing. And I've also said in the past as well that by hosting these big events in Saudi Arabia, it actually opens up the calendar for domestic fights. We've had some great domestic cards here in the UK the last 12 months that may or may not have been so high profile. They probably would have happened, but maybe not as high profile if the Saudi fights were in the UK. Now they're away. It's almost like that the UK audience, especially, and I'm sure it's the same for the United States as well, the UK audience are kind of hungry for boxing events in this country. The same for the United States. They've had some great cards there over the last sort of 12 months as well. So by drawing out the big-time fights over to Saudi Arabia, it's actually given boxing an even greater platform. It's been a good thing. I don't think we've ever seen boxing this high profile for, well, possibly 30 years, 35 years, maybe even longer when I was a kid watching boxing. This is probably the biggest that I've seen it so far, and it can only get bigger. We're already talking about it. The amount of publicity this is getting is so great, and this is all because Saudi Arabia have decided to put their money where their mouth is and invest in boxing, but they're investing it for a reason. Okay, we know what that reason is. You know, perfectly understandable. There's no issue there from that point of view, drawing eyes as a big marketing campaign to Saudi Arabia. So they have the right to do it. Anybody who says they don't have the right to do it, well, I think that's a bit conceited as well. But also, Saudi Arabia have also conceded, no, we will try and bring some boxing events around the world. So if there's a net benefit to what they're doing, and also, let's not forget that just because they're hosting it in their country, it doesn't mean that the rest of the world can't view it. Now, probably the biggest critics of this would be the Americans, because they're having to watch this, let's say, in the middle of the day. It isn't very kind of watcher-friendly for them. But that's no different from us having to watch fights at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when they're in Las Vegas. It's exactly the same. So just because, you know, they're being hard done by right now doesn't mean that they're right to criticize, or anybody else is right to criticize. And let's not forget, here's another thing as well. Saudi Arabia, they're putting on these big boxing cards as well. The pay-per-view is kind of subsidized. They're not really charging a lot of money either. Again, because it's all about promotion and marketing for the country. So they're conceding on that as well. And they're also realizing that most people watching the boxing fights around the world are watching it online or on a TV screen or on a computer screen. So it doesn't really matter where the boxing event is. The fact is that the boxing event is taking place. The fights are taking place. That's the key thing here. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But do the Saudis have the right to host boxing events in their own country? And for me, absolutely right, because they're the ones that are paying for it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.